Well, Season 3 of Marvel Rivals is almost over, and I've finally decided to recap the gallery cards that came with the Klyntar story. This time, I'll be recapping the events a bit faster, giving a more summarized version instead of just repeating the important parts of the story verbatim. So, let's start off with Flarkin Klyntar, where Rocket communicates with Shuri about the previous events from Season 0. This gallery card confirms that the events that happened on the first Klyntar map, Symbiotic Surface, did in fact happen far before the Season 3 map. As a short recap, Null was awoken from a millennia-long nap by the time stream entanglement, and he started to corrupt the Wakandan gods when Shuri notified the Guardians of the Galaxy to go to Klyntar to stop him from breaking out of his prison. On Klyntar, the Guardians met up with Venom and Atom, and they argued over how they should eliminate Null. It turns out the Guardians, the offensive team, were victorious, and they used the Celestial Codex as a bomb to kill Null. Then, the Guardians went off with the other heroes to save New York from the vampires, and then save Krakoa from Ultron. The end of the Krakoa arc is when Atom realized that Null wasn't dead, and he was returning even stronger. Rocket informs Shuri about all of those events that took place. And that means that they're heading back to that nightmare planet whether they like it or not. Too bad, Rocket just washed his blasted fur. Now next, we see things from Shuri's side, where we get a little bit more intel in The Light in the Darkness. Shuri goes over her internal conflict with Bast, the panther goddess that Null has corrupted. Shuri thought Bast would return to normal after the Guardians defeated Null in Season 0, but she was mistaken. Instead of returning to Wakanda, Bast retreated into the divine space, a plane of reality only those with cosmic powers can traverse. Eventually, the Phoenix arrived. The Phoenix and Jean Grey planned on using the divine space to get to Klyntar to fight Null, but the Phoenix ran into Bast and a bountiful amount of other gods from various pantheons, and they had a fight. The Phoenix ended up cleansing all the gods of their corruption, leading Bast to finally return to Shuri and tell her all of this news. When Bast found out that her avatar, Black Panther, was in a separate time stream, Bast tasked Shuri to gather warriors that could help fight Null. Luckily, Shuri had one soldier by her side who was eager to get out of bed and join the fight. Shuri knew it would take more than a single sword to end Null, but it was a start. And in a battle like this, every blade counts. This gallery card explains why the story designers had Blade rest at Wakanda. Wakanda was directly tied to Null since Season 0. This kind of just shows that the designers of the story really know how to bring it full circle, which is really cool, and it's why I love this lore. Next up, Jean Grey and the Phoenix Force shakes up the battlefield in The Phoenix 7. This chapter explains the lore of the Celestial Husk map that we got at the beginning of Season 3. Jean Grey and the Phoenix prepared to assault Null, but instead, they were met by his Queen in Black, the goddess of death, Hela. They learned that Hela's Asgardian powers were heavily amplified by Null's darkness. They were easily outmatched, so the Phoenix protected itself and became the Phoenix Egg. The heroes from all across the multiverse were here, fighting against Hela and Null's army, and they had noticed that the egg was essentially burning a hole through Klyntar's surface, which would release Null from his prison, so they came up with two plans to stop it. Some heroes, like Scarlet Witch and Venom, believed removing the egg from Klyntar would be the best option. But Jean thought that gathering heroes who could harness the chrono energy from the Celestial Codex could expedite the hatching process, which in turn would restore Jean to her full power, letting them resume the fight with Hela. Ultimately, the conflicting efforts led to the Phoenix Egg prematurely cracking. Shards of the Phoenix Force were scattered across Klyntar. Some of the shards bonded with other heroes nearby, giving them a tiny amount of the Phoenix Force's power. Those heroes included one of her dearest friends, a mortal enemy, a demon queen, two kings, one of the seas and one of space, a lethal spy, and the immortal Iron Fist. Now, usually, Jean isn't a team player, but she trusts that the Phoenix Force chose these 7 heroes for one reason or another. Now, that's not the last we'll hear of the Phoenix Egg. Certain characters from previous seasons are interested in the powers it possesses. But one shard has landed nearby another hero, who is not looking too good. Let's learn about how Eddie and his symbiote are doing in Til Death Do Us Apart. And for this one, it's 2 characters talking back and forth, so I'm just going to read through it all.
Eddie! Edward Brock! Wake up at once! What on Klyntar is happening?
I'm not sure. Hela grabbed us by the throat, and the next thing I know, here I am, separated from you, and locked away in some sort of nasty dungeon.
But we are Venom. We should not be confined to cages. We must escape.
Escape? Oh no, I almost forgot. He actually escaped.
No.
Your lousy king in black. When the Phoenix egg shattered, the energy it gave off seared a hole straight through the surface of Klyntar, just like we and Wanda predicted.
We knew it. Those fools should have listened to us, and to the Scarlet Witch. She deserves attention. Her power is so delicious.
Calm down. Now's not the time. Null's on the loose, and he's got that sword, the all black, back in his hands. He's ready to begin another campaign of cosmic conquest.
Ooh, that rolls off the tongue.
This isn't a joke, and you know it. You're a symbiote, which means you're even more aware than I am how much of a threat your creator is to every living creature in this reality.
Which is exactly why we tried to stop him, Eddie.
Yeah, and it was a bad call. We never should have tried to take Null on alone.
Then perhaps it's a good thing we never had the chance.
Really? You think it's a good thing that Hela got to us first and ripped us apart?
She may have removed us from each other physically, but she can never break the bond we share. Even though we may be in separate cells, we are never truly alone.
You're more right than you realize. I think some of your cousins just showed up here, and they look like they're pretty hungry.
Fend them off with your meaty human fists, Eddie. I will try to speak to them through our hive mind to let them know we are on their side.
Thanks, but try to talk fast, okay? I want my meaty fists off the menu ASAP.
They claim they did not come to hurt you, Eddie, but rather than they were running from something they feared would hurt them.
Really? Klyntar is their homeworld. What could possibly be here that the symbiotes are afraid of? Other than Null, I mean.
Whatever it was, they said it burned with the fury of 1,000,000 stars being born.
Wait, do you think it could be a fragment of that Phoenix egg?
Perhaps.
Then we need to get out of here right now, buddy.
I have never agreed with you more, Eddie.
So that we can find that shard before anyone else does.
I take that back.
And for those who haven't seen my Venom video, or the Phoenix Force skin they gave Venom, he ends up reaching the Phoenix egg where he has a conversation with the Phoenix Force. Learn about that conversation in the video that I just plugged. For now, let's learn about the continuing story of Doom and Doom as Reed gives Doom a stark warning. Reed tells Doom that as a man of science, he understands how Doom's morbid curiosity led to this. Doom 2025 created this whole mess when he was experimenting with the fabric of time and reality. And if Doom and Doom 2099 can stop their curiosity for 1 minute to fix the time stream entanglement, then maybe, one day Doom's actions can be forgiven. But Doom's recent actions during the entanglement has left Reed confounded. The Dooms were manipulating events, manipulating Dracula into creating a vampire nation, striking a deal with Emma to siphon the chronal energy of Krakoa, and now both Dooms are sending legions of Doombots to Klyntar for samples of the Celestial Codex and the Phoenix Force egg. Reed is mostly frustrated that while the heroes are saving reality one catastrophe at a time, Doom is scavenging like a vulture, not helping the world or universe-ending threats, but just benefiting from the results of the heroes' work. Now, Reed has modified the code of the Doombots so that they wouldn't accidentally cause harms to the heroes, but that's not enough. Doom should have done that. And then, Reed threatens Doom. He never expects Doom to help the fight. That's never been your style. But I warn you now, if you continue to stand in our way as we clean up the mess that you've made, I will personally make sure that you and every version of you come to regret that decision. If I were you, this is not one theory I would risk testing. After that little interlude that explained what Doom has been doing during Klyntar's story, let's get back to the action with Out on a Blade. Blade recaps how he was prisoner in New York. Then he sat on the sidelines of Wakanda until Shuri caught him up to speed on Null. He got a fast-track ticket to Klyntar, and ended up being one of the first to fight Hela, and he was outmatched. When the Phoenix eventually hatched from the egg later, Dracula's sword, which Blade now wielded, absorbed a mighty amount of the Phoenix Force's power. He fought against Hela again, but she was still too strong. With one last idea, Blade waited for Hela to get close, and Blade sunk his teeth and drank her blood along with a dose of Null's darkness. After that, he had a sort of resistance to Null's powers. Hela's dark magic, powered by Null, was now a part of Blade. So, Blade got the upper hand, and Hela ran like a bat out of hell. And now the heroes have a clear path to take the battle straight to Null. Now, when I first learned about the Klyntar story, I understood how Phoenix was going to be a crucial part in Null's demise, but I was confused on why Blade was part of the season. He doesn't seem powerful enough. And this gallery card was an epic and quick tale which explains why he's a vital part of the story. Next, let's go over Divine Balance. The Phoenix Force and the Primal Pandemonium are two powerful forces as ancient as time. For so long, they seemed like opposites. Jean Grey and Scarlet Witch, the wielders of the two powers, had never considered how perfectly they worked together. When they finally did, blindingly divine light bathed all of Klyntar, damaging, weakening, and overwhelming Null at last. But the Necrosword, Null's sentient weapon, wasn't going to surrender. It found its way back to Null, renewing Null's resolve and giving him an idea. If the Phoenix Force was cracked and shattered across all these heroes, there must be a weak point, and that spot is Jean Grey. Null aimed all his might at Grey, and suddenly the sky's light dimmed to darkness. Null had regained his strength and his conviction, and he defeated all challengers one by one, quickly and easily. Even those who had the Phoenix Force stood no chance. But Scarlet Witch, who laid on the ground, almost unconscious, had spent decades as the sorceress supreme of her own dimension, protecting it from gods and monsters. Null was stronger than anything she had faced, but she could cast one more spell before falling unconscious. A spell that would protect the only hero who might stand a chance against his creator. Which leads us to the next story, Kings in Black. We learned this story from the Necrosword's jealousy. The Necrosword was created at the dawn of time by Null. He was the first symbiote ever created, and he served his master well. But when Null was imprisoned in Klyntar for so long, the sword served other masters. Not as a servant, but worshipped by them. While it was nice, the sword longed to be with Null once more, for Null is the only one who can harness the Necrosword's true power. Or at least, that's what the Necrosword believed. Now, there is another symbiote, whose power in this moment seems unlimited. Venom is in a sword-fighting duel with Null, powered up by the Phoenix Force and the chaos protection of the Scarlet Witch, and wielding Dracula's fiery, empowered blade. As Venom swings the massive fire sword at the Necrosword can't help but recoil from the cosmic flames. It's a cosmic fear all symbiotes have carried with them since they were first created in the Celestial Forge. But this symbiote, this child of Null, Venom, doesn't fear it. And as I look in his eyes, I wonder if he fears anything. The Necrosword knows that Null will probably win, but he begins to wonder if he will ever achieve what Venom has. True symbiosis with a host. One where the bond is truly equal, made of sympathy and love. But the Abyss does not offer love. So who is the true King in Black? Next up, as we reach the climax, we read Phoenix Endsong. This one is also read in character voices between Rocket, Jean Grey, and Venom. I recommend reading it yourself, but here's the summary. Venom fails to beat Null in a duel, but Rocket has come up with a new plan, and Jean is interested. The Phoenix's whole shtick is rebirth, where when you die, you go to a celestial plane called the White Hot Room, which was foreshadowed in Season 2. And then, the Phoenix Force is reborn and comes back. But what if the Phoenix Force isn't the one sent to the White Hot Room? On the first visit to Klyntar, Rocket's ship crash-landed, and they needed a way to get out quickly. But their ship was too damaged to take off, so they used some of Captain Marvel's tech to quantum leap themselves and swap positions with the dead Celestial in the atmosphere, which ended up leading to the conflict of Season 3, because Null needed a Celestial heart to break out. If Jean Grey could recklessly attack Null and get skewered and die, he would be too distracted in his victory speech and his celebration to notice she was wearing some of the quantum bands. And then, Venom could stealthily attach another band to Null. Then, they activate the quantum leap, and Null would be trapped in the white-hot room to be obliterated by pure cosmic light.
Now, I can't guarantee that this tech will work across dimensional planes, but everything else we've tried has failed. This might be our last chance.
Jean Grey grabs the circuit board and replies with, "I came here to stop Null, no matter the cost." We're left at a cliffhanger, and the final chapter is, as usual, an epilogue leading to our next season's battlegrounds. So let's discuss Nowhere Left to Run. Dzang, the ruler of the 8th city, which is a refugee to all of those who are lost in the time stream entanglement, had an interesting refugee approach his city. Hela. Despite the guards' conflicting emotions, she was allowed in, and when asked what she, the Asgardian goddess of death, needed refuge from, she said one word: Null. After not saying another word for days, eventually she requested to speak with Dzang once more. She felt Null's corruption and power diminishing from her, meaning he was dead and gone. So she explained her story. A while ago, she was looking for more power, and she teamed up with darkness itself, Null. Eventually, after being beaten by Blade's fiery vampiric powers, she retreated. Afraid of the retribution her king might punish her with, she wound up here. But now that Null is gone, Dzang should release her of her cell immediately and let her go back to Hela. Dzang thanked Hela for her honesty, but rejected her request. She was a traitor to the entire Chronoverse. While Dzang and his city have a strong belief in second chances had to be earned. As Dzang walked away, he could feel Hela's icy stare, and he could hear her heart beating with rage. Dzang turned back and told her this might be a blessing in disguise. She has many sins to atone for, and while I will not be the one to judge your guilt, I have a feeling your own kind would come to deliver justice soon enough. Now, holy moly, we are going to Iron Fist lore. For a while now, I have been confused and kind of upset on why Iron Fist is so isolated from the other characters in terms of character lore. He appeared in the fight against Ultron, and he appeared in the Phoenix 7, but all of the character chapters of all of the characters interweave with each other, referencing other allies or enemies. For example, Captain America was saved by Black Widow and then chased by Doom, and then Wolverine helped him get to Wakanda, where Black Panther then asked Captain America to go on a recruiting mission to gather heroes to help fend off the Chronoverse. But Iron Fist was not referenced in any other character chapter at all. So I was hoping to go to his character's home to learn more about him, and we finally are! I have been predicting this for so long now. I have like 2 videos where I predict that we'll be going there. And so I'm just so stoked. But in terms of the conclusion of the Klyntar story, I like how they resolved Hela's involvement. She is a playable character, so they can't just kill her character off in the story. So having her flee in fear to her next location of the next season is pretty clever. And now that we've read the gallery cards and learned about the next season, what are your thoughts? Did you enjoy this video? Did you enjoy the gallery cards? Who's your favorite character and what was the best moment? Who do you want to see more of in the future? And as always, thanks for watching and have a nice day.